Everybody, today Honey is going to continue reading The Beast and the Bethany, written by Jack Mega Phillips and illustrated by Isabella Follath. Part 4, The Bethany. You want to adopt that Bethany? Asked Miss Fezziwig. They were back in her office. Miss Fezziwig had sent all the children to their rooms except Bethany, who was told to wait outside. Yes, please, said Ebenezer. Is that going to be a problem? It will probably turn into a problem for you, said Miss Fezziwig, pursing her lips. She told Ebenezer about how Bethany had arrived at the orphanage after her parents had died in a fire, and she warned him that Bethany had been nothing but trouble ever since. Bethany had pulled every prank and trick imaginable since she had been at the orphanage. She had squirted super glue on loose seats so that everyone who sat on one would be trapped in the bathroom for days. She had filled the sugar pot with chili powder to ruin Miss Fezziwig's cup of tea, and she had left banana peel on every staircase, which led to nasty falls for many of the children. Miss Fezziwig explained that it wasn't just the naughtiness that was an issue, it was the joy which Bethany took from doing horrible things. Unlike most children, Bethany didn't show any remorse after she had been told off. She seemed to be very proud of her behavior. I've never met any girl so determined to be unladylike, said Miss Fezziwig. You'll have a battle on your hands if you take her in. I'm confident I'm in a battle that I can win, said Ebenezer. Don't be. There was another woman who came here a few years ago. She thought she knew everything about children and that she could get the better of Bethany. What happened to her? She took Bethany home. She brought her back 3 days later, after Bethany threw all her china dolls onto the washing machine. Ebenezer was happy to hear this. He was sure that he was finally found the perfect child to feed to the beast. Bethany had no manners. She had never worn any of the pretty dresses that are laid out for her, and she eats her food like a barnyard animal, said Miss Fezziwig. I want you to think very carefully before taking her into your home. Ebenezer thought carefully. This took all of 3 seconds. I still want Bethany, he said, and I can promise that I will never bring her back. So it was settled. Miss Fezziwig told Bethany that she had a new home and that she was to collect her things at once. By the time Ebenezer had finished signing all the necessary forms, Bethany was waiting outside on a box containing catapult, a toothbrush, a whoopee cushion, a pile of clothes, a crumpled photograph, the last 2 worms and a stack of comics. There was a twinkle of mischief in Bethany's eyes as she looked at Ebenezer. She was sizing up her latest target and thinking of all the ways that she might go about tormenting him. Last chance, Mr. Toiser. Are you absolutely sure about this? Asked Miss Fezziwig, looking doubtful that Bethany wouldn't soon be back at the orphanage. Positive, answered Ebenezer. Goodbye. Ebenezer led Bethany to his car whilst whistling in a happy tune. You're a rubbish whistler. You sound like a granny trying to spit out a cough. Sweet, said Bethany as she climbed into the back seat. In response, Ebenezer continued to whistle, louder and more enthusiasm than before. Ebenezer started the engine. He was just pulling out of the orphanage when he saw Giraffe running towards the car, shouting, Wait! Stop! And oh, brother, please don't go! Drive! Bethany shouted at Ebenezer. Don't just sit there, you nitwit. Let's go! Ebenezer certainly wasn't going to follow any of Bethany's instructions. He stopped the car and wound up the window to speak to Giraffe. Very much, said Giraffe, who was out of breath after his run. Look here, you seem like a nice chap, but I'm afraid I can't take you home with me. I already chosen to adopt Bethany, and I don't need anyone else, said Ebenezer. Yes, so both of you rats, said Bethany. No, that, said Giraffe. He took a moment or two to catch his breath. I'm here because Bethany took some things which belong to me. They're the last gifts I ever received from my parents. Ebenezer raised his eyebrows at Bethany. He wasn't cross, he was just impatient to get home. Bethany frowned. Here you go, you rat, said Bethany. She took out last of the worms from her box and threw them out the window. Ebenezer drove the car away from the orphanage. He didn't hear Giraffe shouting, Not the worms, it's the comics. She's taken my comics. Will anyone else come chasing after us? Ebenezer asked Bethany. Nah, only him, said Bethany. She was now sorry that she hadn't stolen from anyone else. Wasn't he the same person whose nostrils were stuffing? Any particular reason you're not a fan? Because he's a rat, said Bethany. Right, fair enough, said Ebenezer. They passed the rest of the journey in silence. Bethany flicked through Giraffe's comics whilst Ebenezer looked at himself in the mirror. He noticed that there was a faint wrinkle above his right eyebrow. I must get my hands on that potion, he muttered to himself. You what? Asked Bethany. Never mind, it doesn't concern you. Right, here we are. Welcome to your new home. Bethany looked at a 15-story house which was as wide as a dozen elephants. She shrugged her shoulders and returned to reading the comics. Aren't you going to say, whoa, gosh? Asked Ebenezer. Nah, said Bethany. There's nothing impressive about a waste of space. Ebenezer's cheeks flushed red. He was about to shout at Bethany, but then she realized that there was no point. She would be in the belly of the beast soon enough. Come on then, let's go inside, said Ebenezer. Do we have to? These cars are probably comfier than a dump of house, said Bethany. The dump is worth more than 3 castles put together, shouted Ebenezer, unable to hold his temper any longer. Bethany grinned, delighted that it had been so easy to make him cross. She chucked the comics band in her box and jumped out of the car. I want to choose my room, said Bethany as Ebenezer walked them outside, and I want to be bigger than yours. That's fine by me, said Ebenezer, but there is someone I want you to meet first. Well, something's perhaps a better description. When Ebenezer looked at Bethany, he experienced a new feeling. For the first of his life, Ebenezer was actually looking forward to feeding the beast. The movable feast. This thing lives on the top floor, said Ebenezer, and it's very excited to meet you. If it's so excited to meet me, then why doesn't it come downstairs? Asked Bethany. It doesn't like to move unless it's absolutely necessary. Ebenezer headed up the stairs, followed reluctantly by Bethany. The journey of 15 flights passed slowly as Bethany made fun of all the pictures and antiques which lined the walls. Some were criticized for not having proper faces, others for not being colorful enough, and others for just plain boring. By the time they reached the top of the stairs, Ebenezer was ready to push Bethany back down them. He didn't, however, but he knew that the beast liked his meals to be fresh. I'm trying not to be scared, said Ebenezer. It won't like you if you're scared. If it tries anything scary, it won't like me, said Bethany. Ebenezer rolled his eyes. Bethany will find out soon enough that no one was a match for the beast. He cracked open a rickety old door and switched on the light. The room smelled strongly of boiled cabbage and dead parrot. Phooey, yelled Bethany as he shoved 2 bony fingers up her nose to block out the smell. I wouldn't say if you're rude. It doesn't like the smell to be mentioned, whispered Ebenezer. And please don't shout or scream. Those sorts of noises are not welcome here. It doesn't like baths either, said Bethany, her voice long. off by the fingers of her nose. Had he heard of a shampoo? Ebenezer drew open the red velvet curtains to reveal a very unhappy-looking beast. Clearly, the contents were not soundproof. When Bethany caught sight of the beast, she screamed wildly. She pulled her hands out of their nose and pointed at a bungee-filled finger at the beast. "You gross!" shouted Bethany. "It is absolutely disgusting. It's just a big, old, horrid lump of eyes, tongues, and gray." "Please don't listen to her," said Ebenezer to the beast. "She doesn't know what she's saying. There's nothing old or horrid about you. You're a majestic lump." The beast turned his 3 eyes to Ebenezer. None of them looked happy. "I mean, you're not a lump at all." "Of course you're not a lump," flirted Ebenezer. "What I meant to say is that I'm hungry," said the beast. "Yes, exactly, you're hungry," said Ebenezer. The beast turned his eyes to Bethany. The look at her gave her not a friendly one. "You're a very rude child. Tell me, are all children so very rude?" asked the beast. "No idea. I don't know all the children in the world." "What about beasts? Are they all slimy and ugly?" asked Bethany. Ebenezer felt that he had been quite enough of Bethany for the lifetime that it was about time she was shut up. He had no idea how the other lady who adopted her had managed to last for 3 days. "Would you like Bethany to come closer so that you can see her better?" Ebenezer asked the beast. "I'm not going to step one closer to that thing until it learns how to use a toothbrush," said Bethany. "Its breath smells worse than a bag of rabbit poo." "Bethany, I don't care what you think. You must learn to follow instructions. And if the beast wants to come closer, then—" I don't want her to come closer," interrupted the beast. "I can see her just fine from here, and frankly, I've seen enough of her already." "Awesome," said Bethany. She ran out of the room and back down the stairs just as fast as her legs could carry her. Ebenezer was so shocked at the beast's behavior that he didn't even try to stop her. He was amazed and appalled that he had gone off its dinner so quickly. He looked at his beast for an explanation, but it didn't seem inclined to give one. Its 3 eyes stared stonily at the door Bethany had just carefully departed through. Ebenezer didn't ask it any questions in case it was still cross, so the room was silent save for the distant sounds of Bethany stomping through the house and slamming doors. "I'm very disappointed in you, Ebenezer," said the beast eventually. "For centuries you have never failed me. When I asked for a leopard, you searched the jungle for the best you could find. When I asked for the remains of Titanic, you brought a snorkel and went deep sea diving. And now, when I asked you for something so simple, you fail me." I don't know, I'm sorry," said Ebenezer. "It made me a mistake with Bethany. She's such a horrible little girl, and I would never have brought her to you." The beast looked puzzled. "Her horridness was nothing to do with my disappointment. In fact, the bad behavior might give her interesting bitter flavor," explained the beast. It was Ebenezer's turn to look puzzled. He stared with open-mouthed confusion at the beast. "Oh, Ebenezer, do I have to explain everything to you? Come on, have a think. What did I tell you what I wanted to eat?" asked the beast. "Well, you said you wanted a child, didn't you?" "Ah, but not just any child. I said I wanted a juicy, plump child. I want one with lots of flesh, and I can sink my teeth into. Not this little thing that you brought to me. When I eat my first child, I would like to feel like a meal, not a snack. I want to chew on more than a sack of bones." "All right, now I get it," said Ebenezer. He showed how much he was getting by nodding his head and clapping his hands together. "It's simple. I'll take back Bethany and ask Miss Fezziwig if she has any brats in their larger size." "No," boomed the beast, wobbling angrily. "That's not what I want." Ebenezer waited for the wobbling to stop. "What do you want?" asked Ebenezer in the softest and most soothing of his voices. I want to eat Bethany. I want to gobble her up and show her how scary a slimy lump of gray can be. But I don't want to be until there is more of her to eat, answered the beast. When will there be more of her to eat? Asked Ebenezer. After you fed her piles of food, you fool. Today is Tuesday, okay? Yes, Ebenezer answered with a nod. Well, you don't need your potion until Saturday. 3 days is plenty of time to fatten up a child. Ebenezer was horrified at the thought of having to live with Bethany for 3 days. At the moment in time, he had happily chopped off his own ankles if he could have saved him from spending any more time with her. But please, said Ebenezer. No but, Ebenezer, said the beast. If you're disappointed in me again, I'm afraid you won't find me so generous with my gift.